perhaps another all-time great team. And I reluctant to say it because I expressed my displeasure with Oklahoma City a couple days ago after they won Game 1 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. But they won 118-103 last night in Game 2. They took a 2-0 series lead, and really past the midway point of the second quarter, you knew Oklahoma City was going to win that game. You knew that. Their second-half defense consistently is so good. To this point, because they only lost about 15 games in the regular season, or I should say 14 games. The Thunder are now 78-17, including the postseason and the regular season. 78-17. So they have an opportunity here with, that would be 6 more wins to go to finish 84-17. 84-17 would be around the 5th best record in NBA history. The Bulls in 95-96 were 87-13. That's widely viewed as maybe the best team of all time. The Warriors, the year they got Durant, this is not the 73-9 season because they lost a lot of postseason games. The Warriors, the first year they got Durant, went 83-16. That's the best team I've ever seen with my two eyes. And then you got the 71-72 Lakers with West, Baylor, and Chamberlain in the tail end of their careers. And then you got another Bulls team in 96-97 who went 84-17. And then you get the Warriors the year they lost, actually, 2015-2016, they went 88-18. That's still the 5th best record in NBA history. Then you're entering into 66-67 Sixers, the Celtics from 85-86, and the Thunder from this year. The 85-86 Celtics won 82-18. Are we that confident that the Thunder are going to lose 2 more games this postseason?
It's weird. I turned on the TV and I did not see the topic bar at the bottom of First Take or Get Up or anything for that matter that said, are we watching the greatest team of all time?
That's the problem. Isn't that insane? That this is statistically, defensively, offensively, their record, they've killed everybody in a good Western Conference. This is a all-time great team that I don't think anybody cares about. Yeah. And that I don't think anybody is. It's not like you knew when Durant joined the Warriors, even when the Warriors were going 73-9, you knew that was an all-time great team. That conversation that carried throughout that whole season in 2016 was, are they better than the 95-96 Bulls? Which is widely viewed as the greatest team ever. 72-10, dominated the postseason, the whole thing. Now, there's a couple options. If you really want to get an all-time great NBA teams, there's a couple you could go to. 82-83 Sixers are a very underrated one. 85-86 Celtics. That's when the Celtics picked up Bill Walton, and he put together a pretty healthy season with McHale, Bird, Parrish, Dennis Johnson. 6 Hall of Famers on the team. But this Thunder team, everybody's perspective on them, it feels like, yeah, you get the MVP there who, people like, but, not everybody loves. And then you got a bunch of smattering of role players that are, you think about Jalen Williams, hey, yeah, pretty good player. Chai Holmgren, yeah, pretty good player. Lou Dort, pretty good player. That's the team. Isn't that insane? We're talking about a team that is, to this point, 78-17. The 7th best record in NBA history to this point. And they got 6 more wins to go. And it's a team that, lost 14 games in the regular season, 168 quietly. And the perspective on them when you think about it is they got a great MVP level player, and then everybody else is pretty good. You're not saying Jalen Williams is great. You're not saying Chet Holmgren is great. You're not saying Isaiah Joe, Cason Wallace, Isaiah Hartenstein. You're not saying any of those guys are great. But that's almost the Spurs-ness to what they are. They're great, and it's like nobody even knows. It's like they're flying under the radar for the best team in the league. And I can't remember the last time that has happened because I grew up at the tail end of the Spurs dynasty. Whenever the Spurs were in it, everybody knew the Spurs would be great because they already had the notoriety. They already had the name. They won in the 90s. They won in the early 2000s. They were there with David Robinson. They won with Duncan. They won right after the Lakers. That was a great team. But when I grew up, at least, all-time great teams, the Thunder, I know they haven't won anything yet, but this is as quiet of an all-time resume I think as I've ever seen. Because when you're talking about the greats and how to separate the greats, those types of resumes do it. It's the defensive prowess. You know, in terms of turnover differential, the amount of turnovers they've had versus the amount they've caused, it's 10 more than number 2, and they're in first place, and we're in the conference finals.
Well, yeah, the way they play defense, I liken it to a base runner who has the green light always. Maybe somebody you played with, like in high school, where they are the fastest guy on the field on either side, and they search for any opportunity to take advantage to steal the extra base. They look for any secret opportunity to control the pace of the game on defense. They make the offense adjust to them and not vice versa.
The series is over. That series is over. And now I know we are writing home about how good the Pacers are. Maybe that Pacer, the only way to scratch the Thunder is magic.
Save me, Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, that's
Save
it.
me.
It's the only way to do it is the magic. That's it. Maybe it's just we're seeing two different levels of team, but like defensively, that series is over. Minnesota rolled over and died. I'd be blown away if they show any sort of fight. And maybe they'll steal a game. They're not winning two. This is a 5-game series.
Well, the reason the attitude is what it is with the Thunder in terms of not necessarily giving it the level of respect they might have earned talking about 2024, 2025 NBA season, it's the whole ass-backwards aspect of the NBA where it's like you got to prove it in the playoffs first. It's like, well, wait a second.
Well,
an all-time great regular
yes.
season does not need playoff validation. So it's almost like if the Thunder had this regular season that they already had next year, following a possible title this year, then those conversations will begin to happen. But as far as a lot of people concerned, like you heard, was it Markieff Morris on ESPN? It's like, I don't buy the Thunder. It's like, yeah, because you haven't seen them raise a championship yet in the season that we're calling them an all-time great. Yeah.
They're trying.
They're not down 0-2. They're up 0-2.
Right. That's a good point. And it's weird because you think about so many of the great teams, like, the Hawks when they won 60 games, or the Warriors, of course, most famously. It doesn't mean much until you win. The Spurs won 67 games. They didn't even make it to the conference final. In 2015, 2016, they lost to the Thunder that year. The Rockets had a sneaky year where they won 68 games, and that was when they lost to the Warriors in 7 in 2018. All those teams are forgotten about because they didn't do anything in the postseason.
Erased.
But this Thunder team, it's not like it's this gimmicky, hardened offense and it's the best season of his career and just offensively they're splashing threes all over the place. This is a defensive-minded, defensive prowess team. Everybody can shoot. They go 10 deep. Everybody can defend. They force turnovers, and they have a great player. And they're well coached. In terms of like the quadrilateral, the corners of what you have to hit, you have to defend at a high level, you have to be able to hit threes, you have to be deep, and you have to be well coached. And I think they have all four.
Yeah, think about cross sports, the Panthers, 2015, where they were 15-1 in the regular season. You can't get much better than that.
And they're completely forgotten about. And I don't even think they've made it back to the postseason ever since. Maybe one game, but they ever since that when Cam Newton didn't jump on the fumble and the whole thing, that was forgotten about teams. Nobody gives any sort of. You want people to care about the regular season, and then when it's time to actually grade a regular season and how it stands, you have to match it up with the postseason. That's what the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, the NHL fan wants, because the Tampa Bay Lightning famously, 2017 maybe, when they broke the points record?
Yes.
And they got swept in the first round by Columbus. They got swept. And such an all-time great season just goes down the drain because it's almost like a paradox. Well, the teams try really hard in the regular season, but then if it's not going according to plan in the postseason, then this team is fraudulent. This team is that we can't take them seriously. And then the team that doesn't care in the postseason or in the regular season gets to the postseason and then turns it up. Everybody gives that team flack, the Miami Heat, for not trying in the regular season. But the fans don't give any merit to the regular season. The coaches don't give any merit to the regular season. It's all about postseason.
But I will say with that football comparison, during the playoffs, when the Panthers were still alive,